been about a month and a half, and I wanted to go check on our ferment. So there it is in all of its glory. So now that we have our ferment out in the open, I want to go over a couple things here with you guys. So first off, if you notice in there, there's a whole bunch of floaties. Now those are actually okay. It's basically a byproduct of the fermentation. Now if you do have any other weird colors in there, I know my water kind of looks green on the video. I promise it's not green in person, it's just cloudy. But basically if you have any other colors in there that's not just like that white floating stuff, it's probably bad. Now with that being said, sometimes garlic will turn blue, so that's okay. So now that we have our ferment opened up, now's a great time to check on the top, especially for mold, which I don't see any mold on top here, so that's really good. Also give it a good smell, just to make sure there's no weird, funky, rotting smells coming from it. But this ferment looks absolutely fantastic. It looks just about how it's supposed to be. Now to start turning our ferment into sauce, we're going to need a couple things to start out with. So first we're going to basically strain all of the liquid out into this bowl. So we're going to get our strainer here. And I'm also going to take out the weight or spring, because we don't need that anymore. So you want to make sure to save this because we will be using some of it. But basically pour it in and just strain out all that liquid. Might have to scrape the rest of that out, but that's about it right there. So now that the liquid is all strained out, we're going to basically place the peppers into here. This is basically a little blender thing. I'm just using a little single serve blender because I don't have a ton. Obviously if you're making more sauce, use a bigger blender. So basically I'm going to use some tongs to help me out, just to put it in. And make sure to get all of that. All that stuff is real good. And of course, make sure everything you're working with is all clean. You don't want to be using dirty tools or anything like that. Alright, so now, remember how I told you to save this? This is basically super acidic. So what we're going to do is, we're going to take this and fill that cup up a little bit with it. Now don't use all of it. Basically use as much as you want, because the more you use, the more watery your sauce is going to be. So I'm going to start out with about that much, and we're going to blend it up and see what my sauce consistency is. Alright, so like I said, now that our lid's on, we're going to take it and just blend it up. Alright, so now our sauce is at a pretty decent consistency, and I'm actually going to add in a little bit of lime juice, or lemon juice, because basically the citric acid will help preserve this beautiful color. Now, the lemon juice, along with helping preserve the color, it'll also help lower the pH of the sauce. Now, if you fermented your sauce for a while, your pH should be low enough anyways, but, I mean, it never really hurts to lower it even further. Okay. There we are. Now with our lid back on, we're going to blend it again. There we go, look at that. Now it's a little bit watery now, but we're going to boil it and it will get a little bit more solid. After you've blended your sauce, we need to boil it for a little while to pasteurize the sauce. Pasteurizing basically will kill any bacteria that's in it to stop further fermentation, as well as make it so you won't get sick. So we're going to pour it in there and start our oven. There we go. And I'm just going to place the lid on, and once it gets up to a boil, we want to boil it for about 15 to 20 minutes. In the meantime, it's a good idea to boil any tools you're going to be using. So I'm going to put in the funnel, as well as I'm going to put in, I'll probably do 2 bottles. Basically just going to place those in. They'll slowly fill up with water and sink down. And we'll get a second bottle there. Woo! There we go. I'll boil a third just in case. But there we are. I might take that and just kind of push them down. That's hot. But yep, we're going to boil that, again, for like 15 minutes to kill any bacteria that could be on it. Now with your sauce at a rolling boil, it's a good idea to stir it every few minutes. Basically to prevent any burning from happening. There you go. Basically just scrape anything off the bottom that could be there. After your tools and bottles have been boiling for a little bit, you can safely take them out. I say safely as I almost break one. There we go. Just take out your bottles here. And I'm just going to basically let them dry on this paper for a little bit. The sauce is just about done boiling, and this is the perfect time to check our pH. Now, I'm going to be using pH strips to do this. So the way you do it is basically you take a individual strip, dip it in, and pull it out. And it's hard to tell in the lighting on the camera, but it's it's pretty close to 3.5 or so, which is perfect. Basically, you're shooting for a pH below about 4.5. I usually like to go for below 4 just because it's a little bit safer, but that's about it. So our sauce has been boiling for about 20 minutes, so we're going to turn that off. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take it and very carefully, I might mix it up just real quick just because it thickened up quite a bit while boiling. There we go, so got it mixed up. And then I'm going to pour it into this container. Now I cleaned this container out as well. And then also, of course, pouring it in while it's hot will help sanitize it. So now what we're going to do is take this container of our hot sauce, and we're going to do what's called hot filling our bottles. So take our first bottle, and I'm basically going to put the funnel there, and then very carefully I'm going to pour this sauce in. Now it's important to do this while your sauce is hot, because it'll help further sanitize the bottle as well as the lid. Woo, I hecka overfilled that. Was not paying attention. Anyways, I'm going to lose some of that sauce there. I'll have to clean that bottle up in a second. Basically, we're going to do the same thing to the second bottle. I'm going to pay a little bit more attention though. So the sauce is definitely a little bit thicker than I wanted it, but that's okay. There we go. And then I don't know if I have quite enough for a third bottle, but I'll try it out. Alright, now that our bottles are filled, our sauce is still really hot. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the caps on. Ooh, it's super hot. Oh my goodness, I'm burning my hand. So anyways, once our cap's on, we're going to take the bottle and flip it upside down. So this is basically the hot fill method. What this will do is it'll sanitize the inside of that cap there, because this water is essentially still at boiling temperature, or close to it. And we're going to do the same with all of our bottles. And you want to leave them flipped upside down for about 15 to 20 minutes. Now to help keep our bottles stabilized when they're flipped upside down, I like to put them back into the original container, because it's got these nice little slots that help keep them upright. So just like that, and we will come back in about 20 minutes and finish these off. Thank you guys. Now, after about 20 minutes after this has settled, I want to make my sauces look a little bit fancy. So I have these little red plastic slips, and basically they go over the cap like this. Whoop, come on. There we go. And then what you're going to do is make sure they're sticking up over the cap just a little bit. I know it's kind of hard to see. It's red on red. But here's some boiling water. I'm going to turn off that heat. And as it's sticking up, I'm going to hold my finger on it and then slowly dip it in. Boom. Just like that. This one actually didn't go super pretty, but this is all sealed, and hopefully this one turns out a little bit better. Alright, let's give it a shot. There we go. And just like that, we got little slips over our bottles. Now, that about does it for this video. This is actually a bottle of sauce that I made about a week ago, and this stuff goes fast. It is super, super tasty, and definitely one of my best sauces that I've made. So please give it a try. Let me know what you guys think about it, and if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and maybe even subscribe. I'll see you next time.